Paul, can you hear me now?
If you could speak a little louder, please, I can hear you.
Got it.
Thank you.
This is the second public hearing for the CDBG block grant for 2024, 25, and 26 program years. To date, I have not received any emails or any other correspondence with ideas for that program. That public comment period will be open for the next week. Otherwise, we had what we discussed at the last meeting, possibly the Golden View Acres HVAC, a couple other ideas that are around the city. But if anybody else has any ideas, that's what this meeting here is for, or feel free to email myself at sbusam@cityofsharonville.com with those ideas.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? No? Questions or comments from the audience? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing, discuss community development block grant. And we will call to order the regular city council meeting for April 9th, 2024. If you could please stand for a moment of silent prayer and pledge of allegiance. Mr. Cunningham?
Please join us in the silent prayer. Amen. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Buhite, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Tankersley?
Here.
Mrs. Sharpshire? Here. Mr. Cook?
Here.
Mr. Lovett?
Here.
Mr. Cox?
Here.
Mrs. Knight? Here. And Mr. Schmidt?
Here.
Thank you. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes of the last meeting as distributed? Seeing none, the minutes will stand and approved as written and distributed. Reports and communications, Mayor Hardman.
All right, I am going to swear in a couple of promotions this evening. Mr. Coulter, if you would join me up front. Always exciting to see some of our officers continue to serve the city in new capacities. So, Kevin, why don't you come on down, sir? You're the first one this afternoon, evening. Come right here, sir. Turn around and face all these beautiful people who want to see your happy, smiling face. This, everyone, is Officer, soon-to-be, probably already, Sergeant Kevin Dye, who is a 16-year veteran of the Sharonville Police Department. Before coming to us here in Sharonville, he served 4 years of active duty in the United States Marine Corps with an honorable discharge as a sergeant. After his military service, he obtained a bachelor's degree in criminal justice from Northern Kentucky University and started his law enforcement career with the Cincinnati Northern Kentucky International Airport, where he worked for 6 years before coming to us here in Sharonville. During his 22-plus years as a police officer, seems like only yesterday, right? Yep. He has served as a patrolman, a task force agent with the Cincinnati DEA, field training officer for both departments, school resource officer at Scarlet Oaks and Princeton High School, obtaining the title of Master School Resources Officer. Kevin has been married to his wife, Valley, for almost 21 years. Am I getting that right? It's Valley? Right. For almost 21 years. They currently live in Northern Kentucky with their 3 children, Grayson, wave Grayson, Avery, and Eli. Valley has her own career in public safety in that she is a federal law enforcement probation officer for the United States Court Southern District of Ohio. And Kevin is, these are your words, I'm sure, very grateful. Well, I'm sure the chief didn't put them in your mouth or anything for you. He's very grateful every day to have her support and understanding in the sometimes long and demanding hours that law enforcement careers often require. And we thank you, Kevin, for the service that you have given to us here in Sharonville. Congratulations on this well-deserved promotion. So if you'll raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Officer Kevin Dye,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States of America,
of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the State of Ohio
of the State of Ohio
and the City of Sharonville,
and the City of Sharonville,
and that I will honestly and faithfully
that I will honestly and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office of Sergeant,
of the office of Sergeant,
to which I have been appointed
to which I have been appointed
according to law
according to law
and to the best of my ability.
and to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations, Sergeant. Thank you, sir. Get the family here in just a second. So why don't we go down there, shake some hands, and then we'll take a little break after we do our next swearing in, and we'll make sure the family can get some pictures and all that kind of stuff. How's that sound, guys? All right. Oh, we have stuff to do. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot we have to do all the pinning. I forgot we have to stick them. Where are you? Don't go anywhere, Kevin. Come on, get in here. All right, awesome. Sergeant Hermes, come on down, sir. This is Sergeant Ryan Hermes, soon to be lieutenant. He was born and raised here in the great city of Cincinnati, graduated from Moeller High School 2001, graduated from Xavier University with an undergraduate degree and then a master's degree in criminal justice in 2007. He started with us here in Sharonville in February of 2008. He spent time on third shift. It's such a quiet shift, I know. Before being promoted to sergeant in 2013. As a sergeant, he spent several years as a shift supervisor on second and first shifts. His responsibilities included shift supervisor, K-9 coordinator, and management of the Selective Traffic Enforcement Program. Additionally, he has volunteered as a trustee for the Sharonville Community Fund since 2018, is an active member of Command 400, the Greater Cincinnati Hazardous Materials Resource for Southwest Ohio, Northern Kentucky, and Southeast Indiana. Lieutenant Hermes is a graduate of the Ohio Law Enforcement Foundation's Supervisor Training and Education Program, Police Executive Leadership College, and the Certified Law Enforcement Executive Program. Lieutenant Hermes will be assigned to the Support Administrative Services Division of the Police Department, and he has been married since 2012 and has two daughters who, are they all here? And they are who?
My wife Amanda, my oldest Jillian, and my youngest Isabel.
All right. Well, if you'll raise your right hand, let's get you sworn in and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Ryan Hermes,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States of America,
of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the State of Ohio
of the State of Ohio
and the City of Sharonville,
and the City of Sharonville,
and that I will honestly and faithfully
and that I will honestly and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office of lieutenant,
of the office of lieutenant,
to which I have been appointed
to which I have been appointed
according to law
according to law
and to the best of my ability.
and to the best of my ability.
Congratulations, Lieutenant. We're gonna pin things on him too? All right. Why you put to do it? Down. Oh, come on. They can all, oh, they can stick things on you too, absolutely. The more the merrier. the look I got? All right, congratulations. All right, sir, if you will, this is for you. They want to shake your hand. Mr. Coulter, we're going to take about a 5-minute break. Is that right? Oh, we probably need a nice picture of. Come on in here. Get this picture real quick, and then we'll take a little 5-minute break so you can get pictures with their family. All that good stuff. We'll get all of that started. Thanks, sir. They want to say thank you. All right.
All right.
All right. So for the rest of my report tonight, the monthly Mayor's Court report for March 2024, our total revenue was $23,911.50. Our year-to-date is $66,379 and change, which is about $6,000 more than where we were at this point last year. The full report will be made part of the minutes of tonight's meeting. A couple other things to share with you. So Saturday morning, the Hamilton County Municipal League will be meeting here in Sharonville again at our fire department headquarters. They're going to have an update from our state legislators and senators. So it is always a lively morning of discussion. So all of you are members of that organization. So I invite you to come join us at 9 o'clock Saturday morning. There'll be some light breakfast foods, and then you'll get to hear from all of our state legislators, and there are elections for the board members, and I think, unless there's a rush of people to come take over as president, I guess I'll be voted in again to serve in that capacity. But yeah, so it's great that they come here to Sharonville to do it. It really is a good discussion about what's going on in our state house and how that affects the lives of our community and the residents and businesses that work here. So I encourage you to, if you can't make it this meeting, make another one of the meetings throughout the year. But we'd love to see you over there at the main fire station Saturday morning. That is all I have that won't be covered, I'm sure, in other ways. So any questions for me?
All right, thank you. Safety Service Director, Mr. Lucas.
Thank you. First, just a reminder to review the proposed dates for our next capital improvement plan meeting. The first survey that was sent out didn't result in a good date and time, so a second survey was sent out, and a lot of people have responded to that, but not everybody, so just a reminder to get back with me on that. Legislation-wise, there's only one piece of legislation in front of you, Ordinance 2024-28E, which is convention center related on a variety of aspects, and Jim Doughton's here to talk about it.
Good evening. This proposed legislation is requesting additional appropriations for the convention center for the expansion equipment for the exhibit hall expansion, and then an EMT and security contractors, and authorizing agreements for those vendors. The background on that, last year we appropriated, with your approval, through ordinance 202361E, those, I think $400,000 for those pieces of equipment, and I was only able to purchase about half of it by the end of the year. So this would approximately $220,000 of the originally approved $400,000 in equipment is still needed for the expansion of the exhibit hall. And additionally, we're requesting appropriations of $100,000 to cover the initial expenses of the EMT services and our security dock services for events with attendance over 1,000 people, and events that are using the 9 loading docks in the rear of the building. So not all of our events will require those, but those events that are of a large scale size will require those. Any questions?
And the only other thing is, we are asking for a voice vote, giving us the authority to apply for CDBG funding based on the public hearing. That's it.
Thank you. I have no report this evening. Clerk of Council, Ms. Buhite.
I have no report either.
Thank you. Auditor, Mr. Cunningham.
No report.
Thank you. Treasurer, Mr. Irie.
No report.
Thank you. Law Director, Mr. Lippert.
Thank you. No report.
All right. Police Chief Nesbitt, no report.
Time to move on.
Thought I'd try. Sorry.
Yeah, I guess I'm up. First of all, before I get started, I do want to say thank you. Thank you to council. Thank you to our citizens. The 2023 was a very busy, very trying year for us, but with the staff that you've made possible, with the facility that we operate out of, and with your trust and confidence in our abilities, we achieved a lot in 2023. That could not have been done without an exceptionally professional staff that's dedicated to Sharonville and making sure that we're safe and that we have a good community to live in. So we are part of everything that this council does, my favorite part, and it couldn't happen without exceptional staff, and I'm very grateful to all of them for that. And I want to thank Ms. Terry Buhite as the new Chief's Administrative Assistant. She compiled this report, and it took a while. It takes a year to make, but it took months to put together. And she put a lot of effort into that, and I'm very grateful for that as well. It makes me look good, at least as good as can be. You can only polish me so far, and she makes it happen, so I'm grateful for that. All of that, well, you know, I thought of all of that while I was sitting there and how grateful I am to everybody and everything that made this possible. So hopefully I don't mess this up as bad as I have in years past, but we'll see what happens. In advance, last week I sent out a 38-page report to everybody for your review. On the off chance that you didn't get a chance to review that, I provided a hard copy of that today. I was not intending on going through the entire report today for time's sake, so I have a very condensed slideshow that I just wanted to touch on a few topics and really just kind of emphasize what contributions my staff have made, both to the department but also to our community. Unless there's any questions, I can start with. And seeing as there's no questions, I will get started. We started 2023 hiring. 2023 was a big year for us. We had in 22 and 21, we had quite a few retirements. So we started the year looking for fine officers to join our department, but along the way we also hired several clerk dispatchers. Hiring is a big thing. We currently have 6 openings. I expect a 7th opening to happen within a month or so. And we are in the midst of hiring more now, and hopefully we can add to that professional staff that I mentioned before, that all of this couldn't happen without them. In 2023, we hired Sarah Orr, and she came to us from Hamilton County and Warren County Communications. She came with a wealth of information, and she has become a pivotal member of the police department. We also were able to secure Casey Roberts from the city of Wyoming. He is an exceptional officer and has really set himself apart over the course of 2023 and through this far into 2024. Stephen Howell came to us from Hamilton County Children's Services, and he is another outstanding new addition to the police department. He has really set himself apart. Our newest officer in 23 is Brandon Dorsey. Brandon Dorsey is in our police academy yet, so you have not had a chance to meet him. They graduate, I believe it's the 22nd of April, and hopefully sometime shortly thereafter we can bring him in for a swearing in. But he is a second-generation officer. His father was Herb Dorsey, prior fame for here, and a school resource officer, popular with everybody that knew him. 2023's Officer and Civilian of the Year, Officer Joel Altman and Dispatcher Miranda Ausler. 2 key members of the police department really set themselves apart. Miranda is an exceptional dispatcher clerk. She has set herself apart. She is an investigative tool to our detective division and anybody that's really digging into anything. She has
had a pivotal role in a lot of major cases that you've received supplemental emails about throughout the year, and we wouldn't be near as effective if it wasn't for people like Miranda. Miranda's contributions stood out among her peers. Officer Joel Altman, many of you know him as a Sharonvillian. He is an author. Yeah, I think he's working on a book for Sharonville at this time, but he's also written other books. Hamilton County Parks. Probably the biggest thing that he set himself apart with in 2023, aside from the critical incidents that he was involved in and being struck by a fleeing felon, he started our Veterans Outreach Program, and that'll be noted later in the report. But without him, I don't think we could have connected with a segment of our community like we have. And it's been pivotal and instrumental and very valued by our veterans within Sharonville. So we're very grateful for his contributions in his time. And he donates his time as well. It's not just on duty time. He spends his own time. He drove to Cleveland recently to visit a veteran. Aside from regular trainings that everybody goes through, and we have about 40 hours of training annually for every member of the department to make sure that we stay as professional and proficient as we can. A few standouts. Lieutenant Cordes completed the Certified Law Enforcement Executive Program. I know in 23 he made a short presentation to council as well to explain that. Lieutenant Griffith graduated the FBI's National Academy. The CLE is a 14-month commitment, and the FBI is a 3-month residential commitment outside of town. Both of them sacrificed a lot, personal time, professional time, to make themselves just that much better. Sergeant Asbrock completed the STEP program, which is the precursor to the CLE program, and he really set himself apart during that training. He is our newest sergeant, and he's really coming to his own. At the beginning of training, we have Officer Howe, who completed the police academy at Scarlet Oaks. And outside of Sharonville and outside of our formal training program, our members seek ways to exemplify themselves and improve their standing. And Officer Ross Seifring has recently been promoted to captain of the United States Army National Guard. Veterans Outreach, as mentioned before, Joel contributed many things. On the top left, you see an image he commissioned the artwork on that, and it's designed after a fighter bomber, but it ties in many key elements of Sharonville and our dates, 1788 and 1911. Also, it talks about his time meeting with Doug Carver at the VA Center. In the center there, we have our challenge coin that we helped design, and I was honored to hand that out to veterans during one of our presentations with Mayor Hardman. Built into our police department, and during Police Week in May, we dedicated our memorial sidewalk. It's really not a memorial sidewalk. It's engraved names and ranks for those that have served with the police department and their positive contributions. Helped make the police department what it is. And that the history of our police department is as varied as anybody else's, but its foundation is the professionalism and commitment to Sharonville. And our predecessors set that in motion, and our current employees exemplify that. Lexipol was a major project, and though I wasn't expecting it today, retired Lieutenant Pruce is here today. That project started in 2012 with Lieutenant Pruce, and it concluded in 2023 with Lieutenant Pruce. And that was very poetic, but it was a major undertaking. Over the course of 10 years, we had the program, and we were, as an agency, never able to complete it. And what it provides is it gives us risk management, it gives us best practices, and it gives guidance to all of our employees to make decisions. And sometimes 3 o'clock in the morning is the hardest time to make a decision. You're tired, and you're not sure which way to go. Lexipol is an online system that they can access in the field to get an idea of what is important to us and how to prioritize decision making and how to work through a lot of problems. So it helps us be better, and at the end of 23, we're about 98% complete. Citizens Police Academy came back after 20 years, and it was a huge success. 2024's Citizens Police Academy will be starting up in the fall, and we're looking forward to it. It's a 9-week program. This past time we had 13 participants, maybe more next time. We're trying to figure out how to make it grow and how to make it better. But it was well received and a good investment. In 2023, I was approached by the founders of the Latino Coalition to revive the coalition. It had faded after COVID and before interest had waned. So we are in the process through 2023 and continue to build the Latino Coalition back up. It has given us an opportunity to connect with members of our community that we don't otherwise have good relationships with. And it tears down some of the confusions or lack of knowledge or understanding, and it helps us build the relationships that make our jobs easier and our community better, and us as a community police provider more received by the community. Divert is another program that we started. We partnered with in 23. It had been a program that had been around for a while, but we hadn't been active members. And Divert is basically a crisis intervention program where during domestic violence calls here to our residents, we are able to call them on the radio, and they are able to come out and victim advocate on site with the victims of the domestic violence. Provide them with resources and knowledge and access to other facilities and resources that can help them recover from the incident that has happened. It also helps protect the children and hopefully remove them from a cycle of domestic violence. DART, we had not been part of the Hamilton County Drug Abuse Reduction Task Force since 2005. In 2023, staffing levels got to the point where we were able to reassign somebody to that, and in January through June, we had Officer Danny Oddie, who was in the audience today, and June through December, we were able to put Officer Sean Grogan, who has now moved into Detective Grogan's assignment for the next 5 years. DART is it's a community-driven drug abuse reduction task force, which is obviously in the name, but it's made up of the communities in Hamilton County, and Sharonville is a founding member of that. So back in the day, we helped to start this program, and it was good after so many years to get back into the program. It helps develop our officers and give them skills, knowledge, and abilities that will help raise the potential of the police department. Our traffic safety program, we spent 567, a little more than a half hours, working to address community concerns, businesses and individuals as well, and the results are there. We did a really good job. We can do more. I know in the start, or 23, we were authorized to start a traffic safety program. The hiring challenges have prevented us from filling that, but we're working on that. And we have one officer assigned to that program now, and his numbers are much higher than this already. And we're very hopeful that we're going to continue to be able to make a significant impact in our communities to address the traffic, because it's a lot. It's a lot of traffic. There's a lot of concerns from the neighborhood, and rightfully so, and we're working to address those. Calls for service, 10-year trend, we continued to increase. We're up 5%. Overall, in the last 20 years, the calls for service have risen 70% in Sharonville. So we are becoming busier and busier and busier. We're trying to find more effective means to address the calls for service, because it's pushing the limits of what our regular antiquated structure could account for. So we are working to find systems and methods and policing models that help us to be more efficient and effective to offset the increase of calls. In Sharonville, the crime rate is much less than what it is nationally, and we're grateful for that. And that's a no small credit goes to the officers that are on the street to make that happen. Hamilton County Policing Partnerships. In 2023, our neighboring communities lost some officers. And each time there was a loss, we stepped up to fill in that void. And good partnerships define the Sharonville Police Department and its significant role as a premier agency in Hamilton County. It has been said time and again that the Sharonville Police Department really sets an example for our peers, and I think that's true. But we don't just do it in the courtroom. We do it on the street with our community members, and we do it from agency to agency, and we support each other. And on the bottom right, you can see the Lieutenant Fisher, Chief Fisher. When he left the police department, he went to be a Deputy Safety Service Director and then on to be Chief up in the Columbus area. Good friend of mine. Lost him to cancer. So our commitment doesn't just end when you leave here. Family's family, and that's all important to us. And we're grateful to be part of the Sharonville family. And thank you again, because that's my last slide. And I just wanted to close with a thank you for everything and all the support that we do get. Are there any questions?
Thank you. Not a question, but a comment. In my capacity with the criminal justice system over the last 15 years, I've had the opportunity to interact with every law enforcement agency within Hamilton County and a lot of law enforcement agencies outside of Hamilton County, and Sharonville is absolutely one of the best, and it's because of the culture. From the chief to recently retired Lieutenant Bruce to everybody that was in the back tonight and everybody who wasn't here, they have a culture of wanting to do their best and trying to do the right thing and figure out what is the right thing to do. And I get calls regularly from everybody, and I'm happy to field those calls and try to help them figure it out, but they do a great job. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you. This time, are there any residents desiring to be heard before council this evening? All right. But you still have to state your name and address for the record, sir.
Eric Stratton, Rush Chairman.
There you go.
For those of you that recognize that movie reference.
Best comedies.
Mark Bruce recently retired. I'll say this without getting emotional, or I'll try, but I just want to thank council for 38 years of letting me be a part of the city. It's been an amazing journey. You guys have been real supportive. I started here, you know, in the mid-'80s, and most of you don't know exactly how I got the job here. I was working in Harrison as a police officer. I was working third shift, and I get off at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I live on Field Turtle Road, just by Reed Hartman. And you know, I get home by about 8, and I am sound asleep by 8:30. 9:15, my phone rings, and it's a landline because cell phones didn't exist back then. And I'm like, hello, Mark? Yes. Bill Noose. Bill Noose who? Bill Noose, Chief of Sharonville. Oh, that Bill Noose. You want a job? Yeah. Be in my office Thursday, 9 o'clock. Okay. Click. Now I get up about 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening, and I'm like, did I dream that? Like, did this really happen? And I had to call John Cook down here, like, hey, did somebody call me? Hold on. Yeah, Bill News called you. Am I supposed to be somewhere? Hold on. Yeah, you're supposed to be in his office on Thursday at 9 o'clock. And that's how I got the job. And you know, it's been great. But you know, we certainly couldn't do it without you. So thank you.
Well, thank you for taking Chief Noose's call. It was a benefit for our community, so thank you for your years of service here.
Good thing I didn't take the phone off the hook so I could sleep.
Right. Any other residents desiring to be heard before council? Okay, seeing none. Council committee reports, community development, Mr. Tankersley.
Thank you. Just a reminder, we got BZA and Planning Commission meeting. BZA is at 6:30 tomorrow night, and Planning Commission is at 7 in these council chambers. Thank you.
Thank you. Budget and finance, Mr. Cook.
Thank you. No report for budget and finance, and still working with Scott on determine our next meeting. Project oversight, no report. I reported out at the last council meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Community services, Mr. Lovett.
Report is on file with Ms. Buhite. I do want to just highlight a couple things real quickly. If anybody knows anybody looking for a position, part-time or full-time,
Our rec center is also down quite a bit, and we're coming into the summertime, and they're needing a little bit more help over there. Also, from my understanding, some pool staff, some lifeguards, right? We're still looking for a few, swim team coaches as well. I apologize. And so if anybody knows any college kids coming home for the summer that want to help coach swim team, please let them know there's opportunities. So thank you.
Thank you. Honored citizens, Ms. Knight.
Excuse me. Yes, tonight I am honoring all our Sharonville Vietnam vets. In 2017, March 29th was designated Vietnam War Veterans Day. Sharonville has quite a few Vietnam vets, including Charlie Pugh, who will be our designated speaker on May 29th at our veteran celebration. All I'd like to say is thank you and welcome home. Thank you.
Thank you. Law and Public Safety, Mr. Schmidt.
Yes, thank you. Now, remember, we have 5 Tuesdays this month, so the next Law and Public Safety Committee meeting will be on the 23rd of April, 2 weeks from today, at the Administrative Conference Room, 4 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we have a rules and suspension motion for the first and only reading for immediate effectivity of ordinance 2024-28-E. Is there a motion for rule suspension? Mr. Cox, thank you for the first. Mr. Lovett, thank you for the second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say yes.
Yes. Yes.
Those opposed, no? All right, that is passed. Thank you. Unfinished business, Ms. Buhite.
First and only reading of ordinance 2024-28E, amending 2024 appropriations for the various funds and authorizing the Safety Service Director to enter into agreements with EMT and security vendors and declaring an emergency.
All right, thank you. Is there a motion for ordinance 2024-28-E? Mr. Cook, thank you for the first. Mr. Lovett, thank you for the second. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Tankersley?
Yes.
Mrs. Sharpshare?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mr. Lovett?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mrs. Knight?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-28E has been approved.
Thank you. We have a voice vote to approve the Community Development Block Grant application. Is there a motion for that voice vote? So moved by Ms. Knight. Mr. Tankersley, thank you for the second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Those opposed, no? All right, the motion is passed. Thank you. Last chance for any residents desiring to be heard before council this evening. Seeing none. Okay. Any other matters to be heard before council this evening? Ms. Sharpshare.
So on this Saturday, April 13th, Princeton is having an info and resource fair. This is information for summer camps, job hiring fair, health and wellness expo, early literacy activities, hands-on learning. They're having a kindergarten signing. It's really big. It is from 10 to noon. So get over there and get some info.
Thank you. Any other matters? All right, seeing none, we are going to go into executive session this evening as per Ohio Revised Code 121.22G2 to consider the purchase of property. Do I have a motion to go in executive session? Mr. Lovett, thank you for the first. Mr. Schmidt, thank you for the second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Tankersley?
Yes.
Mrs. Sharpshare?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mr. Lovett?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mrs. Knight?
Yes.
And Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
And once we come out of executive session, there will be no other business, I believe, to be discussed this evening, so we'll just simply adjourn.